Hey everyone, so I'm going to show you how to hardwire a radar detector up near the mirror area of your Tesla. This is a Model 3 Highland Performance. This should work on the older Model 3 and Model Y also. Although you will need to double check the wiring loom, we'll get into that. The method I use is like a super cheap method. Using an old phone cord. However, I will have links below to a hardwire kit that is used for these radar detectors that uses this RJ11 connector. So either way, you want to like super cheap out like I did, this is great. Otherwise, it's still going to show you how to hardwire this thing up. So let's go. Hey everyone, so I've been dying to hardwire this unit in radar detector into my Tesla for, well, just ever since I bought it. It's been a couple months. I was going to buy one of those kits, like 20 bucks for the wire, and they give you all kinds of fuse option connectors that we don't need, and they don't work because this car doesn't have like a fuse box anywhere, right? There are no fuses in the Tesla. So what is wild about these unit-ins, and I had one of these years and years ago, but it did not have this connector. This is like what's called an RJ11 connector, which is like probably many of the people watching this video don't even know what that is, but that is like standard old school telephone, all right? Not Ethernet, but telephone. Good old fashioned telephone wires in your house. So knowing that, I thought, well, why would I spend $20 on like a $3 phone cable that I might just even have laying around? Turns out I threw out all of this stuff, but I did ask a neighbor and he had some old phone cord. Now, look, it's silver, but you know, with a Sharpie, we fix that problem. I'll show you what I'm doing in here, but it really doesn't matter what the color of this cord is because it's all going to be tucked in the molding and everything else. And also what is nice about this cable is that it is like kind of flat. So it's going to tuck in really nicely and hide well. While this connector would allow 6 possible conductors, standard phone cables only have 2 or maybe 4. This one has 2 because it's like super cheap. I cut the other end off already, obviously, and it's just probably like a 26 gauge, which is really, really thin. However, this radar detector only uses, and I measured it, 400 milliamps, maybe it jumps up to 500 every now and then, which this wire with this length is no problem. I did already test it with battery and everything over here, and it does work. So all I need to do then is find a 12 volt supply. I have a new Model 3 Highland, it's a performance, and while these Teslas used to have like a standard 12 volt battery, they don't anymore. They put a lithium ion 12 volt battery in, but it's not 12 volts anymore. It's more like 15 or so. However, that will still work. Many devices still handle that amount of voltage. Okay, so then the trick in the Tesla becomes, where do you tap into? If we don't have the standard fuse box, which if anybody remembers using a standard fuse box, you're able to find things that are like what's called switched on. So they don't run all the time, but when you turn the car off, they power down, which is what you want. You don't want this thing running 24/7. You only want it running when the car is on. You turn the car off, you want it to turn off. This car actually does turn off most things, but not all things all the time. So some of the voltage sources in here are just kind of on all the time, whether it's drawing from anywhere or not. And it makes it a little bit tricky to find these sources. I did, however, scouring the internet, find a source in this car that still works. Yeah, that's the other thing too. So it used to be some power source that they ran to the mirror, which maybe was running the camera up there. I'm not exactly sure. But there was a 12 volt, or we'll call it a 12 volt power source, running to the mirror, and people would just tap into that. And that's on many cars. However, Tesla switched it on this car, or unswitched it in this case. That power source never turns off any longer. So you can't just hook up to that because, again, this thing's going to be running 24/7, which, you know, you don't want. So there is another source that I found. It is, you know, relative to that, it's a lot further away from where I want to mount this, but this source turns off. So I'm going to show you where that source is on the Model 3 Highland, and this is the Performance Edition, but it should be very similar to all the other Highlands. And we are going to tap into that using one of these tap splicer things. So let me show you how this tap works. It has two different openings in it, and the one on the top, you would put the wire that you want to tap into, and then the wire that you want to use to tap out of is this part here on the bottom. So let's say we wanted to tap into this wire. Put it on the top like this. And then let's say this green wire we wanted to basically tap to. We would put it inside there, and then this part here gets pressed down and it kind of splices into this wire and then makes a connection to this wire too. This may be a little bit of a challenge because this is such a small gauge wire, but anyway, that is how the tap works, and you splice in just by pressing this down here. All right, so here we are in the footwell. A bunch of this are just like accessories and stuff, but this wiring here, there is like a red wire, there is an orange wire, and it's the red wire, okay? Do not cut the orange wire. So we're going to tap into this guy here, and again, using this, and this is switched power, and I've already kind of tested it and tapped into it a little bit just to double check that this is the wire that we want. All right, and because this wire here in this phone cord is so thin, again, it's probably like 26 gauge, I did splice some new wire in there, which is not exactly thick, but way thicker than the other wire. And you would think red would be for power, but no, it's not. Red is actually going to be ground, and the green is going to be power, which is now blue. And we are going to get ground right here. All right, first thing we're going to do under safety here, power the car off. Again, this green is going to be our power. So we want to tap into this red wire here. So let's get that in there and then splice this down. Okay, so we're tapped in here. I've got the ground wire here. As I said before, got it running underneath everything. Let's test this out. The car is off, so
X-band, K-band, Ka-band, laser.
all right, so I'm a little bit worried because the car is supposed to be powered off and this thing is still on. All right, let's put this outside the car and see what happens when I walk away. I took my phone inside the house, so you know I got it out of Bluetooth range, and so the car powered off. You know, can kind of tell the mirrors are in and everything, and now this turned off. So that is really strange to me that when you tell the car to power down, this is still on, but when you walk away, it's off. So anyway, it's doing what we want. Let's double check that, however, and I'm gonna go get my phone. I have my phone. Let's open a door or something. And boom, power's on. Sweet. Okay, we've already got this off. This molding comes off. Just don't get too crazy. It's attached over there, and you don't need to unattach that. Just pull this down. There's no adhesive or anything on there. I already pulled it off, so that's why it's coming off really easy, but it does come off pretty easy. So what we're going to do is run this cord up along here, and then we've got to push it through, up through here to get around the windshield there, and then over to the mirror and where I have the radar detector mounted. And what we need to do is go above. This is the airbag, the curtain airbag. We don't want to go below that. We want to go above it because you don't want anything to obstruct that airbag. Okay, and then this kind of just, this can be pulled down a little bit. Don't tug on the airbag, just pull on this. And what I'm going to do is push this through here, and using one of the pry tools on the other side, leave an opening for it, and we should be good. But let me see how it goes. Okay, from here you could see a clear gap. Push this molding back in. There's a couple tabs that are here and here that line up with some slots back there. Actually, there's a couple of this here. And you can look under there and see that these tabs are all lined up. And then there's one tab back here too that needs to line up. Push forward. Okay, good. Right. Find these pieces. Did some minor final touches here on the cord, but the length worked out like pretty much perfectly. That was kind of crazy. But we are now completely hardwired. This is fantastic. I can't believe how long I've been dealing with this thing. Yeah, so there it is, folks. How to hardwire your unit in. This works for Valentine. Well, almost anything in your Tesla. This is a Tesla 3. This pretty much would work for Y, Model 3 Highland, whatever. So yeah, save yourself 20 bucks or so. Find an old phone cord, or I don't know, pay a few dollars for one of those. Wire it up. Hey, thanks everyone. Please like and subscribe to my channel. All kinds of stuff going on, especially with this Model 3 performance. So check that out. Thanks.